Well, good evening and welcome to the Amadeitist spiritual service. Our guest medium this evening, in case you haven't already guessed it, is Angela Foster from Cambridgeshire. Good evening and welcome to you, Angela. It's lovely to see you back again. The outline of our service this evening will be as follows. We'll have an opening prayer, followed by an address, then some music, then a moment's silence for distant healing, followed by some music. Then we'll have a demonstration of mediumship given by Angela, followed by our notifications and closing prayer. As usual, the chat will stay open for those who wish to stay. Okay, so I'll hand over to you, Angela, for the opening prayer.
Please join me in prayer. Tonight I've chosen the words of a Native American prayer, and the words are so beautiful. I'm sure this will reach out far and wide to our God. Dear Great Spirit, whose voice I hear in the winds, and whose breath gives life to all the world, hear us. We are small and weak, and we need your strength and wisdom to teach us. Teach us how to trust our hearts, our minds, our intuition, our inner knowing, the senses of our bodies, the blessings of our spirit. Teach us to trust these things so that we may enter our own sacred space and love beyond our fear, and thus walk in balance with you at the beginning of each glorious sun. We ask you to surround us with your love and shine upon us the white light of your protection. Surround us and infuse us with it, now and always. Help us find the place of peace within ourselves and bring close to us our guides, our helpers, our inspirers, that we may begin to understand and better do your will on our individual paths. We ask you watch over us and be with us. We ask that everything we do here, we do in the spirit of light, love, truth, and oneness, with all the creatures and other lives that walk this earth with us, and help us to keep this faith with you always. Amen.
Amen. Okay, I will hand back when you're ready for the address, Angela.
Religion, spirituality. Two words which we use loosely, often not understanding the difference and their true meaning and what they might mean to us. Deepak Chopra said, religion is belief in someone else's experience, but spirituality is having your own experience. Religion, spirituality. Both words used lightly, often without much thought behind them. Kasim Khan has put a few words down, and although much of what he says may be regarded as controversial and very black and white, he wishes to share his philosophy at this moment in time about the difference that he sees between religion and spirituality. Now, I'm not asking you to accept what he says, but I am asking you to think about your own interpretation whenever you use these words to completely understand what they mean for you. He believes that telling people you are spiritual but not religious is often greeted with a confused face. People tend to think of spirituality as something very strange and mysterious. They even struggle to differentiate it from religion, but this is only because people in modern day society have a fear of being manipulated and have a lack of knowledge when it comes to non-material subjects. The truth of the matter is that spirituality is perhaps the most natural thing there is. It is simply your own conscious self-recognizing that you are more than just a body, that you are a soul with infinite potential. He continues, to simplify what I am trying to explain it, here is a short list of things that help to highlight the differences between religion and spirituality. Kasim Khan first says there are no rules to spirituality. As opposed to following a specific ideology or a set of rules, spirituality simply lets you follow your heart. It encourages you to listen to your intuition and to do what is right for yourself and others around you. It truly sets you free to be the best you can be and to be a good person with no promise of punishment or reward. The reward is simply your own inner happiness. He next goes on to say, spirituality is based only on love and not fear. Perhaps this is the first of those tenets which are quite strong, we may not agree with. He believes that throughout religion there is lots of fear. Fear of the consequences of your action. Fear of what might happen after you die if you don't live your life accordingly. Well, with spirituality, there is only love. It encourages you to focus all of your energy only on the good and to act only based on love. There is a key point for me, as any choice made out of fear will not be good for your soul. That's what he says. Whereas decisions made out of love will empower you, make you braver, and feed your soul. It shows you how to stand despite being afraid, how to move on doing what you feel is right despite the consequences that may come. These are very strong words in black and white. And maybe your understanding is slightly left of centre or slightly right of centre. He says, religion tells you the truth, yet spirituality lets you discover it. Well, as opposed to telling you in black and white how the universe was created and why we are here, spirituality lets you discover these questions and answers for yourself. It empowers you to find your own truth in all things and sets no limit to how deep you can go in understanding all there is to know. Religion separates, spirituality unites. Again, another strong sentiment. Through our world, there are many religions and they all preach that their story is the right story. Spirituality sees the truth in all of them and unites them because the truth is the same for all of us, despite our differences and uniqueness. It focuses on the quality of the divine message they share and not on the differences in details of the story they speak. I'm sure many of us have come from a place of a religion that we may have been born into, that we may begin to understand what he's trying to say, though with perhaps a little bit less passion. He talks about the difference with karma and punishment. We recognize that, don't we, as one of the principles of spiritualism. Instead of talking about punishment or the threat of hell, spirituality only talks about karma, the law of attraction. You get what you give. Simple. Lastly, he talks about walk your own path. Instead of ancient stories about angels and gods, spirituality encourages you to make your own path and create your own stories. This sets you on a journey of enlightenment and self-discovery, to which the only limits can be set by yourself. It encourages you to trust your heart and follow it wherever it may lead you. If you look at religion, yet strangely, it all stems from a deep spirituality. So he believes, as I do partly, I'm sure, that religion has truth in it and that many people can both be truly beautiful souls and religious at the same time. But we know instinctively as spiritualists that anything that separates you or creates division is not good. It's not good for your soul and definitely not good for the greater good of mankind. Spirituality reminds us that we are not separate. There are no borders, no races, and no cultural divides. All that is true is that we are all one and only constant in love. If that's the only part of these man's words you can truly accept, then that's a great start. Words sometimes divide. Actions and feelings and knowing the truth of your own soul's words, that's what unites. Because whatever words we use and whatever language we need to say those words, very often the essence can be lost in translation. So whether it's talking about spirituality versus religion, or your own interpretation against another, do it in love and kindness. Understand that that true essence comes from a place so much bigger than any of us, where words are not necessary. where sentiment and feeling and emotion, the essence of our messages from the spirit world, that's where it comes from. But if we have to use words, make sure that they don't divide, that they unite us in a common feeling, a common journey, a common anticipation of what's to come. So whatever the words, I leave you those to interpret yourself. Just keep true to the one sentiment that we're all spirit having a human experience. When we lose that, we'll all be spirit. Just that.
Beautiful, beautiful answer. Thank you very much for sharing that. We'll have our first piece of music. a beautiful religious song that touches me very deeply spiritually. So would you please all join me now in a moment's silence as we send out healing to all those who are in need this evening. And if you know anybody who is in need of healing, please hold them in your thoughts as I read out the healing prayer. Gracious Spirit, of thy goodness, hear our anxious prayer. Take our loved ones who are suffering, neath thy tender care. Loving Father, hear us. Gracious Spirit, may thy presence shed a healing ray, turning all their night of darkness into glorious day. Loving Father, hear us. Gracious Spirit, shouldst thou claim them, be their light and guide. Lead them to the heavenly kingdom, safely by thy side. Loving Father, hear us. Hear us. Amen. Doesn't music have the power to transport you through time? Right, I'd ask you all to send out your loving thoughts to Angela as she links into our loved ones on our behalf. I'll hand over to you, Angela.
Well, I probably could have only chosen Stay Away to Heaven as a longer rendition of an appropriate piece of music. That's for another week. You can see a purely eclectic taste, or Madam Butterfly, that could have come in as well, or the two together even. That would be a good week. As I've been sitting here and early in the evening, I've actually been overwhelmed by the energy of this gentleman. I feel quite humbled in his presence. Now, you know, some people might say, oh, I've got a guide coming through, but no, well, I have got a guide coming through, but this gentleman absolutely lived on this earth plane. And I feel that he had a great influence on somebody here, not just as a parental figure, but as a spiritual guide. I mean, the energy, the power that's come from this man, his generosity of spirit, just, I was overwhelmed by it. It was almost too heavy to breathe. And I feel that one of you would remember this gentleman for the influence he had on your life. And I do feel that he also came in at a time when he was most needed. He seemed just to appear, whether it was at the front door or wherever it was. He seemed to know when you were needed, when he was needed. Now, because of the energy and the power, does anybody here recognize this gentleman with this energy? Because he's just phenomenal. I mean, he's completely overwhelmed me just by this power that he has. I feel that you probably would have known him when you were younger, and that he would have been there at different periods in your life. And you may not have recognized the energy and the power of the gentleman at the time, but you would be able to look back and say, that gentleman had an important influence on my life. I just know he is so strong. When I was playing, well, when the music was playing Ave Maria, it was almost as if there was a connection to the Catholic faith, because he came in very, very strongly to that music. And he would have had a devout belief that he wouldn't have thrown at you, but he would have quietly used as in influential matters. Barbara, would you know who I'm talking about here?
No, I can't take that, Angela. No. I mean, my dad had quite a lot of influence, but there wasn't any connection to religion with him.
Maybe that connection with spirituality was stronger, if I can put it that way.
Yes.
Does that make more sense to you, that he was a good man?
It would. He was a very good man, yes.
Because I feel that it all links in, whether it was the nature of the reading tonight, which often happens with the first connection that comes in, but this was a good man who kept his counsel unless he felt he needed to say something.
Absolutely, that's him, yes.
And other people would have recognized that when he spoke softly, he spoke with authority. He's really coming in close now. And that he would have been a man of few words, but they had power.
Correct. Yes.
Good. I'm glad. I know I'm with you. You almost stood out. It was almost as if there was this connection with you. Now, he used to, I'm seeing him when you were younger, that he would play games with you. Would that be correct?
That's right, yeah.
And he's actually shown me one game with a big white sheet.
Yes.
Like a tent.
Yes.
These weren't the sophisticated toys from Toys R Us or even from Santa Claus.
That's right. We didn't need them.
But on one occasion, he got into a lot of grief because he tore a hole in it.
Yes, that's right. And it was in use at the time.
Even better. But you see, he wouldn't have thought about that. He would have just thought there are a lot in the cupboard. This one could do with it a bit. And he could see that there would be a lot of play value. But there was always, how can I put it? There was always a slight moral in the story that he told.
Yes, that's right.
So, and nothing, and I can also see him with books laid open at certain points.
Yes.
Well, it's almost as if you were being encouraged to pick that up as thought for the day.
Yes.
Excellent. Oh, it's just lovely. It's lovely when dads come through. I love it when my dad comes through. I do believe that this gentleman started with a very, very slight wheeze or cough.
Yes,
And this progressively got worse and worse and worse. Would that be correct?
that's correct. Yeah.
And, you know, the family would have seen it as a bit of an annoying tick. But of course, there was underpinning it something more serious.
Yeah.
He's telling me the word asbestosis. Would that be correct?
I
It was
don't
a
remember it being
work-related.
I don't remember that being mentioned, but I was a lot younger when he passed.
Would you have been aware, though, that it was a work-related illness?
Yes, I can understand it being work. Yes.
Yeah, because that's he was actually using that word for me. And he felt that he wasn't the only one. There were a group of friends
That's
that
right.
went down at the same time.
That's right.
Yeah, and they used to joke about this because he enjoyed male company with small groups. Yeah.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. What other stories is he telling me? He would be given the he'd be given the family silver to polish.
We didn't have too much of it, but yes, it was one of the jobs.
He's jolly glad there wasn't too much.
No, we didn't have too much, that's for sure.
But the few pieces that were nice pieces, which were given, I feel, as wedding presents, he was expected to help look after.
That's right. Yeah.
Would you have a memory one day when a plate from a dinner service got broken?
Yes, lots of those sort of things happen because some of us were a little bit boisterous.
Well, he's actually telling me that on this occasion this was his fault because he was beginning to lose touch in his fingers.
That's right.
And he was struggling then to feel. So he's not taking the blame for this, but he does feel he was to blame for it. And he got into a bit of a pickle for it.
Yes, he would have. Yeah, I think he probably would have done.
And he's telling me it happened when he was given the not so lovely task of doing the washing up.
That's right. I think it was to try and get out of it, actually.
Well, you know, I've never learnt to iron trousers. I wonder why that might be. He had a delightful sense of humour that wasn't in your face, but had control and presence. I mean, I was just overwhelmed when he first popped in about an hour ago. It was just like, oh, the soothing effect of this man that he would have had, this absolute beautiful soothing effect.
Oh,
and almost, yeah, you remember that?
Yes.
And his gentleness, and yet the loss, the deep loss that your mother felt after he died.
Absolutely.
But he's telling me, actually believed, and of course it's absolutely true, that she saw him on occasions.
Yes, she was a spiritualist.
Because she says that gave her terrific peace. And although there were many occasions that she didn't share with you, she would know and he would know when they needed to meet.
Absolutely. And
she's telling me that there was a place at the bottom of the garden that was a favourite for both of them.
Yes.
Because sun used to flood that corner.
Absolutely.
And she used to take that. Now she's actually showing me some mint tea made from mint in the garden. Would that be correct?
That's right, yes.
Oh, I just love it when they tell me these stories. It's like me looking into their lives. And she would take, if she felt that she needed to be close with him, she would sometimes even take 2 cups down.
Yes, I can imagine, I can understand that.
So that he didn't feel he was being left out, and she would sit there talking to him. And she's also showing me that she would slightly put her chair to one side so that she could feel him sitting next to her, but not be encouraged to actually turn and look and then realise there's nobody physically there.
Yes.
Yeah, just that.
Oh, bless her.
Well, she's obviously much closer to him now in many, many ways.
Yes, which gives me a lot of warmth.
Yeah, and this is how when he comes through, you cannot mistake his signal, his calling card, can you?
No, and just like he did when he was here, he's just turned up when I needed him.
Isn't that strange? My dad does just the same. Bless him. Bless him.
Bless him, yeah.
What he wants to say to you is that he is as honored as you for feeling him, as for you recognizing him, because he says so many in the spirit world are just ignored. We don't have the capacity or the understanding or the desire to make the connection. And it makes their connection with us so much easier if we welcome them into our hearts. So, and he says, whenever you need him, it doesn't matter when that is, whenever you need him, he'll be there almost before you ask, just like he was for me tonight.
Thank you very much, Angela. That's just amazing. Thank you.
Oh, that's fine. It was lovely, lovely, lovely individual. And I thank him for coming in, because I did have a word with the spirit world saying, bring in some really wonderful, wonderful people, and they've done that. So I'll leave your love and his love together to enjoy the rest of the evening.
Lovely. Thank you.
Now, who am I going to come through next? Well, I do feel that I have, and this has happened before, so if it becomes delicate to talk about, please let me know. And if I bring through anybody that on paper sounds like a good idea, but you really don't want to talk to them, please acknowledge them and I'll move on. It's better than me trying to find the recipient and you go, well, I don't want to talk to them. You know, we've all got an individual that we go, no, not tonight, thank you. Really don't want to hear it. So just let me know and we'll move on. And they've done their job as far as they're concerned, just coming in. And I would never say, I leave you their love, if that's what they haven't said to me, because that can be really painful and not appropriate at times. So here we are, we've got 2 children. Now, I'm a little confused whether I have got the other twin or other sibling. So there were 2 children born quite close together, maybe even as twins, but one of them was very poorly, really poorly and very weak. And I felt it was respiratory due to an early birth. So there is one child who reached adulthood, hopefully here tonight, and the other one who didn't. So does that make any sense? Either wave your hand or press the reactions button or anything like that. Just let me know. You may even have to go back in time a little bit. This may be to do with a friend of yours, but I do feel 2 children very close who would have had a very close connection, would have understood each other. Now, again, if I've got the parent here and the parent doesn't want to continue this conversation, then just let me know. But sometimes these children have a wonderful message to give us when they come through from spirit, because we think that they've stayed as babies and they haven't. I know that from personal experience. So would any of you recognize this beautiful child who would have been one of at least 2 and would have had poor health and wouldn't have made it past perhaps 10 at the most, maybe even younger? Right, do I have to go direct? Da, 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 da. Let me see. Okay, if it's not a little girl, Adrian, am I with you? Are you aware of somebody in the family where there was a youngster who didn't make old bones? No. Funny. I know this little one's with me, bubbling around, bubbly character now that wasn't before. Let me see. If you're aware of a child in spirit, then let's start from that. I may have made too much of a connection, but I do feel that this child would have been known. Jen, right, lovely. Come on in, Jen. Tell me what you know.
I've got a very close friend of mine that has 2 children in spirit, but they weren't born close together.
Okay, you've got 2 children in spirit. And Carly has put up her hand. Carly, what can you tell me? I've lost Carly now. Oh, there's Carly. What can you tell me, Carly? Let's feel where we're going with this. No, I haven't got yourself,
Can't
darling.
hear you, Carly. You need to unmute. That's
Hello. Yeah. I have got a child in spirit. Yeah.
You have got a child in spirit,
But it wasn't twins or anything. No.
No, because I just feel there's another sibling as well. There are other children involved. There are other children.
It's just the one.
Just the one, because I feel that there is a closeness with another child. Okay, let me see if I can find out a little bit more.
Okay,
but
thank you.
that's all right. Keep listening, because we will find out which child we're talking about. Sorry?
I will do. I'll keep listening.
Keep listening. But if either of you find this too uncomfortable, then let me know. All right, my sweet? Either of you? Probably Jen less, but if Carly's finding this a bit uncomfortable, maybe, you know, this connection with spirit can come really close, and that's when the emotion can make you think you're sad, but actually it's a deep happiness.
Yeah.
This child I felt was premature. Was that correct?
Yeah.
Right. Would that be right in your situation, Jen? One of them was premature, right? And it was lung issues that were the main cause of not living too long. No? Yes?
Not the one that was prem, but my friend's other child died of SIDS, cot death.
Right, okay. Now, did you say, and I just to recap, did you say, Jen, there were 2 children who both died, or just 2
Yes.
children?
Yeah.
I'm getting the message about one lungs and the other. Right, okay. It still doesn't feel quite strong enough. I will carry on for another method.
I might be able to take it.
Who am I speaking with?
Me.
Oh,
It
is that
was
Brigana? Is that Brigan? Brigan.
Brigan, yes. I have a brother and sister. They were twins. It was in 1989. The wee one lived for a week, Mary, and then she died. And it was they were both premature, but George's still alive and he's an adult now.
That's the little one has responded to that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to just say Bridgian, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I was going to ask you how to pronounce it. I knew I was going to come to you because I even looked up how to say it on the internet and it didn't come up in time. So I knew I was going to be with you, but that feels really strong. Now, I do feel that the twin that was left often had experiences like a special friend. Would you have known about that?
He wouldn't have disclosed that, I think, but it could be very possible. Yeah.
Because this, as we know, this can often happen, that it's a sibling that we feel. And the child that passed was a very pretty child.
Mm-hmm.
Was that correct?
Yeah, she was.
You know, I mean, the epitome of what you'd call a little angel.
Yeah. And
in fact, did you say we're talking about your little one here?
My sister.
Your sister's, okay. I do feel that the gravestone has something about an angel on it. Would that be correct?
It does. It says 7-day-old angel on it.
Yeah, because I felt that connection with, returning an angel. And your sister knew long before anybody else that things weren't right. Yeah? Okay. Could you have known that? Because I'm you know how I'm feeling that the instinctive reaction of her to know that things weren't good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I won't push that one, but I do feel that this little one is telling me.
Oh yes, my mummy would have been aware whenever she was pregnant that one of the babies wasn't going to make it. Yeah. Yes,
that's what I'm feeling. You keep moving to this. Do you mind keeping your space? Do you mind sitting where you're sitting, please? I'm going to pin you. I'm going to pin you because you keep shifting, changing seats. I think it must be. Oh, there you are. Good. I've got a better view of you now. That's much easier. Now, I do feel that as much was done to give this little one quality of life as was possible.
Yeah.
But it wasn't going to happen. Yeah. Now, the twin that's left is quite a character, isn't he?
Yes.
He's got a very strong personality.
Yes.
And sometimes he can be a little bit difficult to rein in.
Yes.
Does that make sense to you?
It does.
And my feeling is that the little one has come in, as my own sister often comes in as an adult, to say, okay, things need to happen now.
Mm-hmm.
And there have been struggles and arguments in the family recently. Would that be correct?
There have been, but things have been improving quite a bit, thankfully.
Good. So I just felt this angst. But for her brother, it's really a place of not understanding and not being, it's not all his fault.
I know.
That is being understood by the family, obviously, for things to improve.
I understand, yes.
Yeah. And I mean, she's obviously very concerned about him at the moment, but they keep an eye on us. They look after us. They want us to thrive. And, you know, if they feel that we're not thriving and not reaching our full potential, they come in and go, knock, I'm here, and we're going to sort this out. And there have been efforts. Would I be right in saying that he has been looking at going back into education?
Not that I'm aware of, but it could be in his thoughts, and he mightn't have shared it.
Because I'm feeling that there is a new direction coming for him. It's almost like he's been waiting for something to happen, but not quite sure what.
Okay.
Would I be right in saying that much of this loss that your sister was feeling, that she felt on her own, there wasn't, how can I put this delicately, that your brother-in-law or your brother-in-law, they struggled to understand each other's grief? Does that make sense to you? If I've got that wrong, tell me.
My sister was only 7 days old when she passed.
Right. Oh, sorry. I was getting the impression it was your sister's child.
No, it's my baby sister. It was my baby sister.
Right.
It was,
I felt that there was. I felt it was different. Okay, that's why I'm getting the feeling of the adult. Yeah. Okay.
George's an adult now. Yes.
And it's your brother, and it's your brother. So the
My
twins.
brother and sister.
I'm with
Yes.
you. Okay. Yes, I was got slightly tuned in there to the wrong. It didn't seem to make sense, but I thought that's what I was understanding. Okay. Let's retrack. You seem to have taken on the role in the family of trying to sort things out at times,
Yes.
because you seem to be able to stand back and analyze the situation really well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you've often taken that away from your parents, and they've enjoyed, the strength that you have shown in those situations has been noted.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's tired you out at times.
Yes.
Yes. And sometimes you felt that you've had to deal with things that you maybe shouldn't have to.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know, we're often told, and I absolutely believe this, that nothing comes to us that shouldn't be there. And that it's given to you at that time because you're the best one to deal with it.
Yeah.
So your sister wants to say she applauds the efforts you've gone to be a peacemaker and to put things right, to challenge those that need challenging, and yet to stand back and understand that very often doing nothing is as doing something. These words are just coming out. I hope they make sense to you.
They very much do. Yes.
Okay. Your sister would have had very curly hair.
Yep.
Because she's just showing me this massive, beautiful curly hair. And it's a lot darker. It's a chestnut color. Yeah. And she's very pretty. She's got quite a lot. She looks very much like a member of your family now that she's grown up. Yeah. So
like Brianna. Yeah.
Yeah. So I can see a familiar likeness there, which she still has. So what she wants to say to you is she loves you very much. She applauds how you've had to deal with things up in the air at times, that you've had to take a stance that's often been painful, but you've been given that task because you can cope with it.
Yeah.
All right. Does that make sense?
It does, yes.
Good, good. I'm so glad, because I knew as soon as we started speaking that it was for you. I apologize, I got the relationship wrong. I misunderstood you. But we've got there in the end. Okay. So I will leave you with her, love, and she'll be there to support you if you need it, like sisters often are.
Okay, thank you very much.
That's okay. Now, just as I get out of double mode, because I've got you pinned, or remove pin. Right, now let's see who we've got coming in through next. Back to gallery view. Now, well, I've got a lady who's extremely arty. She's showing me a house full of beautiful things. And part of what she's showing me are pieces of Waterford crystal. Not just any old crystal, but Waterford crystal. So she had a good eye for pretty things. She had an eye for delicate things. She didn't like anything that was, you know, too crass or large bits of furniture, but she had an eye for pretty things. And she's also telling me that when she used to go on holiday, she loved bringing back little pieces that would remind her of her holiday. Now, she is showing me quite long hair that she had tied up, and she's showing me a selection of ribbons that she would tie her hair with. She has the most beautiful hands. They've not got nail varnish on, but she's using them, and a very delicate, pretty woman who had a natural style and a natural liking for quality things. But does this mean anything to any of you? You know, you'd go into her house and there'd be some lovely pieces there. I do feel that she may be an aunt or a sister. I'm feeling a familiar link here. In number 4. We're going to get there quickly. Oh, no, that's my hand on that one. I've got 2 pages here. Is anybody showing me a hand? A lovely, lovely group of people. I'll tell you a little bit more about her. She's actually showing me that she had a career that was involved with archiving and books. It's not just an ordinary library, but she was responsible for an archive. That's very specific information. I hope I haven't got that wrong and it was just the library, but it felt as if it was grander than that. Like an archivist. No, I'm going to have to go direct again, aren't I? Coming number. Let me see what else she has to say. There she walked with a walking stick. She's showing me a walking stick and that she had a slight limp. And I do feel at the end that there may have been a small stroke or something like that which would have impaired her. See who I want to go to. Somebody here will remember. I hope she hasn't been forgotten, because it's really sad when they come to speak with us and we don't remember them. It's really, really sad, or if I haven't quite given the right information. Let me see. Somebody here would know this lovely lady with natural style. And certainly in a profession where attention to detail was really, really important. Neil, am I with you on this one? Or yeah, am I with you, Neil, on this one? Would this be a work situation that you'd be aware of?
I know someone who had an attention to detail, but not so much the china and all that sort of thing.
Oh, well, you see, right, okay, I will hold that one, because I know there is a relationship with china and porcelain and stuff, but this attention to detail was really important.
Yeah, it was.
And it was to do with the career.
Yeah, in her way, yeah.
Yeah, because I'm seeing this relationship with old documents or with documents that needed putting in order.
She handled documents, but it wasn't archiving.
Right, okay, then I've misunderstood that, but I see this attention to detail with documents and how it was important to maintain them in order.
And she had to convert them to other things.
Right.
And she applied her mind.
Okay. Now, would you remember when this lady may have had would have had a stick at some stage?
Yeah.
Yeah. And would I be right in saying, as I believe she told me, that there was a stroke or something like that? A light one, nothing too, you know.
To be honest, I don't know, Angela.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. 'Cause I'm just seeing her with this. What else can she tell me? She keeps herself to herself, this lady, doesn't she? She's not being an easy lady to communicate with, is she? Quite.
No, that would be her. That would definitely be her. She wouldn't make it easy for you.
No, and the thing is that she's also, in a way, she's also saying to me, I expect you to do your homework on this. Would you understand why she said that? She's saying that because she feels she wants me to. She had an inquisitive mind and liked to delve for all the detail.
Oh yeah, definitely. She was made that way.
Right. So
she always wanted to know why she had to do things. Why?
Well, interestingly enough, she's a little confused as to why she's come through tonight, because she would feel that there is this wouldn't have been a natural way for her to have understood it. She was one that liked to she liked to see visual things. It was, if she could see it in front of her, then she could take it on board.
Yep, she was definitely like that.
So this is all a little bit airy-fairy for her, but she feels that she's making progress. What she wants to say is that she felt that she was often misunderstood because of her lack of ability to chat easily with people. Would that be right, Neil?
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I can see that, yeah.
And it made her awkward in company that she didn't know. I think there's a bit of a
she was uneasy until she knew, unless she was with her own group, she was very uneasy.
So she actually would find a private reading a lot easier than being in a group situation like this, which she's telling me she'd actually find it easier. Not that she thinks she'd have much more to say, but she's finding this a little awkward to sort of open up. For some reason, and you may understand why, she's giving you a lit candle at the moment. Now, I don't normally give things out. Would you understand why she's talking about a lit candle at the moment?
Yeah.
Good, because it's unusual to be given an item, but she felt she wanted, and it had to be lit. And she felt there was a partial, it's almost like there is part of your life that you're trying to illuminate at the moment.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
And she's giving you this candle as a way of saying, you've got the means and the wherefore to sort this out yourself. It may seem a sort of a dark place, sounds really downbeat, but it may seem a place that you may wanted to have kept more, not private, but more under wraps, but you're being forced to address these issues at the moment. Yeah? Do you know why she's saying that? I don't expect you to explain it.
That's true. Yeah.
So she says, take the candle.
Yeah, no, I do. I do know why she's saying that.
To take the candle, she says, and this will illuminate into those areas that you have finding it difficult to bring forward and look at with new light.
Okay, thank you.
All right, I'll leave you this lady who would have had a solution for most problems, and in this case, it's a candle. Bless her.
She had a lot of common sense.
Oh, I'll leave her with you. Thank you very much, Neil. I'm jolly glad we got there. It's so much nicer.
Right, thank you, Angela.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Okay. I have a gentleman with me, and I'm sure we're not alone, who actually enjoyed his red wine. But he also liked it to breathe. So I can see him decanting it into a decanter. There would have been none of this keeping it in the fridge or even in one of those newfangled things where it's all humidity controlled. He would have just opened the bottle, poured it into a decanter and allowed it to breathe. And he enjoyed good wine. He enjoyed good wine. And he enjoyed the process of the good wine, in choosing it, in opening the bottle, in pouring it. And he had a couple of very nice glasses, and he enjoyed pouring the wine. And then if there was somebody there to share it with, and he did share his very nice wines. I'm seeing a wine club or something very similar, that you would get one of these equally nice glasses to drink out of it, and you would expect it to savor it. Luckily not to spit it out. He would have thought that was a dreadful waste of a good wine, but you would have been encouraged to really enjoy the process, because he was very much the one for being in the moment. It was important for him to take time out, and this was his way, and he's doing that movement with me, like that. So there was a certain mannerisms that he would have used that you would have noted. So can any of you take this gentleman that you would have shared a good glass of wine with? Now I'm feeling I may be with one of the gentlemen here, but here, if we've got a secret red wine drinker in the ladies, there are a few of us around, then please share that with me, because I know I'm here with somebody, with this gentleman who's got style, he knows quality, and he's pouring you a glass of delicious red wine with a bit of age to it, because he liked his wine to have a bit of age to it. I'm only on one page here. Let me see.
There's only one page now, Angela.
Is there only one page?
Yeah.
Oh, I see that. Okay, thank you. So right, let's see. I hope it's not somebody who's left. We have had the spirit world come in on the wrong Zoom night, you know, and I've actually delivered the message 2 days later to another group of people. That's very confusing. I do expect them to know how to use Zoom, just like we've had to learn. So I hope he hasn't, the person hasn't come in and then the person who gave me the message to has disappeared. So that sometimes happens, you know. Remember, they were human at one time. They got things wrong, turned up for the wrong event. Actually, that could have been a personality trait. Actually, that would be a personality trait. Used to turn up late or not at all. Interesting. Let's see if that one figures. So, would any of you recognise this gentleman? I do feel as if I'm with one of the gentlemen on this. Ian, am I with you on this, or would it only have been whiskey that you would have partaken in?
There've only been whiskey, and it wouldn't be glasses. It would be what's known as a quake.
I know, I got my grandson one of those for his christening, so yes, I know about those. It's definitely wine. It's not whiskey. My dad was a whiskey drinker, so I know about the whiskey. Yeah, and he wouldn't have watered it down either. It would have been straight. So please, red wine, gentleman with taste. Oh, perhaps he's followed the person who's left early and gone out. I'll say a few more things about him, but let's see. I also feel he could have been a brother of somebody here, who's passed to spirit. So I won't say a drinking problem, because that's not nice and it can be easily misinterpreted, but somebody who did enjoy their drink. Does that make sense? No. No, right, I'm gonna have, no, well, Kevin certainly said, otherwise I'd have gone to you, and I've tried Ian, so I'm definitely with one of them, and I've been to, who else got? Right. I'm not going to substitute beer for wine, because that would be really cheating, wouldn't it? You're going to come, all six of you are going to come in and say, oh yeah, I can take the beer, but I didn't take the wine. If there's anything that I've said that you can take part of, but not all of it, done so well up to now, the spirit world isn't going to let me down. Tell me what you can share. Somebody who enjoyed quality alcohol. Hang on, I've even watered that down. No, right, let's go back to him, tell me what he's telling me about himself. He's showing me that he actually delved into his family history. There was a little bit about this gentleman that he enjoyed living through others. So he would have enjoyed the stories that members of the family brought forward. It wouldn't have just been who would have been the uncle of. He would have enjoyed finding out about them. And he did a lot for the family in finding out about family history. Does that make any sense to any of you? No, nobody, all blank faces here. I'll say one more thing about him then, and if this isn't going to, this isn't bringing through anybody, I'm going to put him to one side, ask him to wait, because I know somebody will make the connection, maybe with something else that I've said. I do feel he liked attending auctions as well. So not necessarily buying, but he liked to attend auctions. Sure, I'm talking about my dad here. I think I'm talking about my father. Maybe come in yet? No, quite convinced. Probably talking about my dad. Harvey?
Yeah.
Angela, I look after an elderly woman. It sounds like her husband, but I've never met him. I have met her husband at the bottom of the stairs, though, spiritually.
Right, okay. And you would understand the drinking of good quality wine?
Yes, that makes. I've never met him, but I knew that she had a collection of fancy, nice wines and glasses in her dining room.
Right. And you would understand also the fact that he would have enjoyed, I'm going to put you on, I'm going to pin you. Hang on. That's it. You keep zipping, yeah, zipping all over the place. That there was also that he would have gone to antique fairs. There would have been a.
Yeah, so I remember her saying once or twice over the 30 years I knew her, she mentioned that.
Good, right. Now this becomes like 3 degrees of separation. So it would be to understand key features about a third person. Would I be right to say that this lady is in spirit too now?
No, but she will be there soon.
Interesting. Isn't it interesting? Interesting. Because as we know, there is a link for a while between the two worlds. Interesting. So I won't be able to say too much then than I've already told you about what you may know about this gentleman. But why has he come through? He actually wants to say that you've been very helpful over, especially the last few months with this lady. Would that be correct?
That would make sense. I can take that evidence.
So in fact, that's why he's come through. He's come through to make the connection for the connection you've had with her. Right, that makes sense. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it, when they do that? They recognize the spirit world when we're trying to. And there's been a lot of paperwork that you've had to sort out.
For myself, not for her.
Not for her, because I'm just getting this feeling of paper sorting out. Okay, well, we will. Maybe that's got to do with the message. Let's take a step back and find out the relationship between this lady. This lady responded to music. Would that be correct?
Yes, I can take that evidence.
And that this was part of the part that you had to play in her life was to do with the music, because I can see you connected with the music for her.
No, I deal with music, but it wasn't to do with her.
All right then, okay. I just see this co-relationship. I'm aware that part of the work that you've been involved with her has been some elements of physical care as well, like checking the fridge and making sure the basics were in the fridge.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I can understand that.
And getting her medication.
Yeah.
And it's been quite stressful for you because you never know when you were going back whether she'd still be there or whether she would have fallen.
Yes, I can take that.
And also the fact that there have been members of the family who have not done as much as they could.
Yes, true. Thank you.
And that there have been members of the family who have, for willfully their own reasons, decided to stand to one side.
Yes, I can take that.
Okay. What he wants to say to you is, regardless of all that you've been through, that it is absolutely recognized what you've done to help his wife.
Thank you.
And he says it's not the big things that anyone in social services might do. It's those little touches that made her feel special.
Thank you.
And are you all right for me to continue?
Please do. Go ahead.
Your emotion. One thing that has meant a lot to her, he's telling me, and to him, was the mowing of the lawn.
Can you say that again? I didn't hear that.
Was the mowing of the lawn. I'm seeing some work in the garden.
Yes, I can understand the garden.
Okay, and I can feel that outside, something like patio doors or French doors, that there has been placed a pot with bulbs in it.
Yes, I can take that.
And these bulbs have come up in 2 stages. So I'm seeing, oh bless, forget-me-nots and then daffodils.
Yes, I can take that.
And he wants to say that part of the choice of what flowers to choose were plants that he wanted to deliver a message via. She would understand the power that, although they may have been chosen randomly, she would understand the meaning behind, because at times she's been they've been in communication. Let's put it that way.
Thank you.
All right. So you've nearly done as much as you can. You can never, ever say you must never have any regret for what might have happened or what could have happened, because he is extremely grateful for the love and the care and the attention to detail that only you could have given, that other members of the family were not able to. And he's not blaming, because he wouldn't have done that. He's just saying we're not able to do or chose not to do, but you did.
Thank you.
Okay. So a gratitude, isn't it lovely when the spirit world brings through gratitude? It's nice that we've been recognized. We don't look for it, but it's really nice when they appreciate it. And this is real-time communication. This isn't just reminding you of events. This is saying thank you. And it touches with emotion. I'm sure you can feel it.
Yes, he always says hello to me when I'm at the bottom of their stairs. Isn't that nice?
That's lovely. That's lovely. And it's great that, you know, you have helped in your own way bring through this communication, because, you know, if you recognize it and you've been party to it, it helps to build the energy for me to deliver as well. It makes this triangle, which is so powerful. So thank you.
Thank you. And I appreciate you and your helpers and guides. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Oh, well, it's him. He's come through. He's come through. He wants to recognize you. So let's see. Let's remove the pin and let's see. Oh, yeah, nearly 10 past. We're all right for a little while yet, Kevin?
Yes, you can stop when you want to, Angela.
Oh, right. Well,
Okay.
we'll start with the spirit world have dried up, I think, shall we?
Yep.
Let's try. Let's see who else. I'm being reminded of a school friend who had the most appalling handwriting. In fact, the joke would have been, what you need to do is to become a doctor, because your handwriting is absolutely perfect for becoming a doctor later on. I mean, the handwriting was awful. It was scrawly, it was messy. I can see blobs of ink all over the page. I mean, if there was a place not to get ink, this young man got ink everywhere. And I do feel there were learning issues going on, maybe a little bit of dyslexia or something like this. But, you know, he hated picking up a pen and writing with it. It would just, because he knew that it would never come out looking neat. It would never come out looking like anything other than spidery marks on a page. And one of you would know about this lad with the most awful handwriting, whether as a teacher or whether as a member of the family that you know, used to hear about the report cards coming back once again saying could do better. I mean, this lad really tried, but to be honest, he was never going to really become the teacher's pet with his handwriting. Can any of you recognize this lad with his writing? And you would have known about the handwriting because there would have been family letters, Christmas cards, or something like this where this continued. But he was delighted when he could go over to a biro. Well, nearly, even that, he managed to get ink on him. A little bit accident prone too, no? If something was going to go wrong, it would seem to happen to him. So quite a character, really. Oh, let's see. Somebody here? If it's the handwriting that has brought his attention to me, and often it's an event or an item that they'll come in with, because they'll be either embarrassed about it or known about it. Let's see what else he's going to tell me about it. I do feel he worked in a garage. I can see him working under cars. I can see a lot of oil around him and the smell of oil. And I can see him coming home at night with very oily rags and clothes. So poor lad, even though he tried to look smart, it wasn't going to happen on a very regular basis. So working in a garage. That makes sense to any of you. I feel that he's actually showing me himself in the overalls. They were always too big, legs were too long, and he had to roll his sleeves up. It was almost as if he was introduced to cars from quite an early age. And that's what he's showing me, that he actually had an understanding of vehicles, because he was quite practical. Although he wasn't any good at book learning, he was actually quite practical. So I can see him actually, when he's showing me these overalls that are too big, that he would have been at a much younger age, would have enjoyed tinkering with cars from an early age. Does that make sense to any of you? Go back to think either as a friend, if I'm not with a relative. No? Let me see who I'm going to go to. I know I'm with somebody. I feel as if I'm with one of the younger women here who would have known about this lad. Actually, Nolene, am I with you on this one?
Hi.
Hello, my dear.
I can't take any of it so far. The handwriting could have applied to me when I was growing up, because I used to have to use a fountain pen and it was really messy. But there's nobody. I've got
Nobody
something
who
in
worked in a
spirit.
garage.
No, not a garage. No.
I'm definitely finding it. I can see oily rags and all that sort of thing. Okay. Oh, Jen, that's all right, Jen. Yeah, no, I'm no. Please tell me, what can you take?
I've got a family history of the males working in garages and not being very literate.
That sounds good. And there was a decent gap between when I gave you a message and now, so that's allowed, because I'm not just giving you two messages, so that's allowed. And the spirit world decides who we go to. It's not us.
It wasn't my message before, was it? The lady who had.
Oh, well, then that's fine. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. Even better, even better, even better. Good. Right, then I'm with you. I'm gonna. So we're talking about one particular lad that would have started working in a garage from a very early age.
I think so.
Okay, so let's see if we can find out a bit more. But the very spite, yeah, no good at school. Let me see what he's showing me. He's actually got quite an unusual nose. Would he have had it broken at some stage or something like that?
Yeah.
So you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think so.
Because it's a bit smudged, like he's had it a bit thumped.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes they don't bring this in to begin with. They like bring it in if they have to, because they're really a bit self-conscious about the nose. And it would have affected his breathing at times. Would you have been aware? I can just see that he would have struggled when he had a cold. He would have got a bit congested.
Not sure.
Doesn't matter if you don't know. Sometimes they bring through things that, or
I know he had issues breathing before he passed.
That'll do me. I'm getting there. Right in the melting pot. We'll make the story fit if we can't get it right. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't have said that, should I? Oh, wrong. Let me see what else we can tell about him. This lad had quite a small frame. He wasn't a very big lad. When he's showing me himself, when he's younger, this is the time he's showing me when these overalls didn't fit him, because he felt that there was a time in his life when he could have gone two ways. Would that have made sense to you?
Think so.
Because it could have either turned out brilliantly or not.
That seems to be the story of my family background.
Because he's just like he's saying, or not, as if it didn't. But it was, and he's showing me at a particular age, like, but he did try. I mean, he tried all sorts of things. He tried to avoid bad company. He tried going to tech college. He did try lots of things. I could just see this trying. I can see this going to tech college or some sort of further education.
No, I don't think that's who I was thinking of.
Well, hold on to that, because there's certainly an education element that he's brought in. Bless him.
Right.
Okay, maybe it was for one day. I tried that, been there, done like, I'm not, like the 5-year-olds do. They go to school. I really enjoyed that. I'm going again now. Or walk home, as my husband did, 2.5 miles. So let's see what he's telling us about himself. He feels the message is very, very much to do with this two paths. That's what he's showing me at this particular age for. He feels that you are at a bit of a crossroads at the moment, Jen. Would that be right?
Yeah.
Now, it's nothing as dramatic as the choices he would have had to make, and you feel that either now is the time to do something, or you put it off for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And in a way, you're almost talking yourself out of doing it now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He knows. He knows. He knows. Isn't it funny when you can sense them watching you, going, "Oh, we know what you're doing here. We know what you're doing here." Prevarication is the word he's saying. Prevarication, like using everybody else for the reason for you not taking the bull by the horn.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's saying, what you've got to do is to sit down with yourself and talk as if you're talking to yourself, or even write down a piece of paper with all the pros and cons.
Yeah.
And he's reminding me of something that I was once told: if you start something, you don't have to finish it, and if you don't finish it, it doesn't mean to say you failed. And he's saying sometimes the right time is to start something, and it's the journey that's important and not the destination.
Yeah.
And actually, we may not understand the destination. We may think it's one destination, but in fact, by the mere process of doing what we need to do, we find the journey takes us somewhere else. So he says, don't imagine that you've got the full story in front of you now. If you've got an inclination and you feel it's right for you, don't prevaricate. Take that bull by the horn. Because if the time is right now, everything will fit into place. And if the time isn't right, then it will be put on hold. Trust. Trust. But as his decision, he was saying, at that age when those overalls were too big for him, could have taken him down one path or the other. He felt he wasn't really in a position to make that choice, where he says, you've got much more the strength and the ability to do that. Trust. You understand what he's saying?
I think so, yeah.
Think so. Okay. Because I'm not trying to make it fit. Does this not make full sense to you at the moment?
No, I know that I've been questioning a lot of things like in the last couple of years and that. So yeah, I just don't know where if it's who I think it is. I always thought his path was the path that he'd never.
Sometimes we find, as he's trying to tell me, sometimes we find we're on the path and it's not always of our making.
Yeah.
We would have chosen something else. But, this isn't a discussion that he's not trying to say what his experience is. He just wants to try and guide you in yours.
Yeah.
I think the spirit world can often see paths that we don't understand. Yeah. So readdress it, go back to it. Go back to it.
Okay.
He feels that the process of doing it will be really important for you.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Sometimes, you just don't know where to start. He's putting you, he's shoving you. Right, go for it, go for it. He's on Team Jen.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
I'll leave you with this care. Okay, thank you. Should we do one more? Should we try and do one more, Kevin?
If you're happy to do that, Angela,
feel free. Me, just tell me to shut me up, really. Well, I'm being shown a Christmas cracker. I have a gentleman with me at the moment who loved Christmas, but he also loved playing jokes on people, because he would have loved it if they were the little monkey. He would have loved it if there was a water bomb in the cracker. I mean, you could just see him absolutely twisting what you would expect and coming up with a different scenario to cause surprise. Quite clever sometimes this, but often a little bit uncomfortable for those that he managed to get. He would be the one who would organise the Christmas parties or the office parties and come up with slightly unusual things to do. So a little bit of a minx, but quite funny, as long as the joke wasn't at your expense. I keep looking at you, Kevin. Would you know somebody at work like this? No, I'm being aware of this practical joker. Does that make sense? If I say practical joker to anybody, somebody who could just, sometimes be a little bit cruel. Got lots of people on without cameras at the moment. It's much easier if I can actually see. If just for this last person, we can come in. Yeah, Rachel, is that a finger you're showing me?
Well, not so much a practical joker, but somebody that was a lot of fun and sort of did organise things, you know, like events and get-togethers and things like that. So I can take that bit of it, but not really the sort of practical joke side.
He's showing me that he was quite imaginative when he was organising something. There's a streak of imagination that he would have pulled together unusual events to make a good night. Does that make sense to you?
In a very sort of, not in a big event type of way at all, but just
No. I'm not talking about as an events manager, but I'm talking about that he was organising.
Yeah, I can relate to that for a few things that he used to do, but I'm still not sure if it is who I.
Okay, one more bit of information, one more piece of information. There was a lady that he would have worked very closely with on this.
No, I don't think it is who I think it is, Angela. Sorry.
I'm seeing a team approach here of either a girlfriend and boyfriend or two working colleagues, just that would have come in together on this. No?
No,
Right.
sorry.
No, that's all right. Thank you for coming in. I may have misinterpreted. Let's see what else he's saying. Can just see this slight parody on what was a good joke to just push it into the realms of what wasn't. Is Manda still with us? I can see some. Hello, my dear. I can't. Can you come off? Put your mic on. Or
Sorry, I've moved into the kitchen now. That's why.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine.
Hello, Angela.
Good evening. Are you aware of this gentleman that used to be good at organising events, small events? I'm not talking about great big events. I'm just talking about, but had a bit of a practical joker.
I probably know lots of people like that, in honesty.
You know a lot of people like that. Well, that's a good start. That's a good start. But there was one that had a slight edge to him, so that the jokes were sometimes a little bit pushing the limits.
I knew somebody like that, but he was an older man.
That's fine. I'm not looking at age at the moment. But it's this thing of these jokes sometimes being just a little bit cutting, a little bit on the border.
Okay.
Yeah. No. Yes.
Possibly? Yeah. Go with it, Angela.
All right then. Okay. Then I'm just going to put you on. If I can pin you. That's it. That makes it easier. Good. If there was, he keeps showing me if there was a twist to playing a practical joke, he would find it.
Yes.
Yes, am I right?
Yes. Yes.
So it would be the unexpected, it would be the surprise element that he was noted for.
Yes.
Yeah. And sometimes these would get a little bit unkind because he would direct them at one person in particular. Yeah. Now, the reason that he has come through tonight is because he's talking about the element of surprise.
Okay.
He's saying, take people at face value.
Okay.
Is that right?
Yes.
You say you do.
Yes, I do.
And you've got a great sense of fairness and fair play.
Yes.
Yeah. And he's also saying that that you don't like being made a fool of.
No.
Is that correct? Would you say that applies to you? Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say it does.
And what he is saying is that he feels that somebody around you at the moment is pushing the boundaries, and you want to slap them down. You want to slap them down?
Okay.
Yes. No. Tell me if I'm not right.
No, you're right.
Obviously, hopefully they're not present. Otherwise, well, that's all right. It's very difficult if they're sitting next to you. Yeah, I know you're talking about. At times, you have almost bitten through your bottom lip. Yeah. He admires your control. He said he would have done a bit of slapping down by now. He admires you. And he says he would feel a lot better if you could put a whoopee cushion underneath that pillow.
Oh gosh.
nothing like the jokes he would get up to, but sometimes you feel you want to turn serious issues into a bit of light humour.
Okay.
Because you feel there are issues going around you that really don't need to be as serious as they are.
Okay.
Is that correct?
Yes.
I'm not just saying this. This is what I'm being told, but have I got it right?
I know.
Yeah. And he says maybe you just need to bring some humour into it, because it's almost going down to a path where, by nature, this situation is becoming a bit more serious. It might be going like, and you want to say, "Oh, just for goodness sake." So he's saying, take his advice. They don't have to be cruel, but if you can find a way of bringing humour into the situation, you'll find it'll de-escalate it really, really well.
Okay, lovely. Thank you.
Right. And if you want to text me afterwards, I'd love to know what you decide to do.
You may see it on the news.
Oh, would that be excellent? Yes, yes, yeah. Desperation, yes.
Yeah.
Well, you know, if it works out that well for you, you probably could sell it. Actually, there's probably a lot of us wanting to follow suit. So
yeah, bottle it.
I will leave you with what was it? SpongeBob's imagination, as SpongeBob would say, and I'm sure you'll come up with something appropriate.
Thank you, Angela. That was lovely.
That's all right. Okay.
Thanks a lot.
No problem. Now I am going to hand the floor back to you, Kevin.
Thank you.
I think I would be pushing my luck if I did one more.
It's lovely. You've done excellent. So no problem at all with that, Angela. You've gone way above and beyond.
Oh, thank you.
So thank you very much for that. I'm sure.
I hope I haven't caused Third World War anywhere. I don't.
No, I don't believe so. And I'm sure everyone appreciated your time and your efforts here tonight, going further than you needed to. So thank you for that.
Thank you for inviting me back. And take care, everybody. I'm off now to fill up my glass of water. I've nearly finished it. Hopefully that means do anything. Take care, everybody. Keep safe. Bye for now.
Bye for now. Right, all that's left in is for the notifications. Don't forget, every Tuesday evening we have our online open reading circle where you can come along for free in the hope of getting a reading from one of our resident or visiting mediums. Doors open at 7:45 for an 8 p.m. start. We also have our new online Shakti healing group circle, which is live on Zoom. You're more than welcome to come along to that on a Thursday evening. Doors open at 7:45 for an 8 p.m. start. You'll need to join our Facebook group for details of that. Our next service will be next Saturday, 7th of August at 7 p.m. and our guest medium is Lillian Pulteney. So I hope to see you all here. All of our events are advertised in our Amadeitist group on Facebook, so please do join there. And that just leaves me to play the last piece of music.
God be with you till we meet again. By his counsel's guide uphold you. With his sheep securely fold you. God be with you till we meet again.
God be with you till we meet again. Neath his wings securely hide you. Daily manna still provide you. God be with you till we meet again. Till we meet, till we meet, till we meet at Jesus' feet. Till we meet, till we meet. God be with you till we meet again.
God be with you till we meet again. When life's perils thick confound you, put his arms unfailing round you. God be with you
till we meet, till we meet, till we meet at Jesus' feet, till we meet, till we meet. God be with you. God